Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyersportsbetting.com, on Roku, Dwyer Boxing and Sports News. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You know what? The Boxing Voice has a great interview online here from one of boxing's better trainers, Kenny Porter, Sean Porter's father, right, in which he expresses his opinion, right? It's the same opinion Abel Sanchez, Gennady Golovkin's trainer, has. It's the same opinion Nacho Beristain, Juan Manuel Marquez's trainer, has. And that opinion is that Saul Alvarez, the favorite right now in Las Vegas, beats defending middleweight champion Miguel Cotto. Right now, the interview is fascinating, and I disagree with all three men, but hey, if I'm betting with my money, not their money, right? So my view matters most to me. But, right, in the Kenny Porter video, he makes the argument that Canelo is the naturally bigger guy. That's the same thing that Abel Sanchez has said. Now, we're gamblers. We want to beat the casino. Understand that there's a catch weight involved, and it's a severe catch weight in this fight, right? They're calling it the middleweight championship, right? The catch weight is for not 158, not 157, which is where Daniel Geale fought Cotto. No, this catch weight is at 155, right? It's just 3 pounds above where Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo. Now, if you track the careers of the two men, right, just understand Canelo has been around this weight for some time. That's bad news, right? Canelo is known to weigh well into the upper 160s on fight nights. Is it possible? In fact, I believe it's likely that the Saul Alvarez who fights Cotto at 155 is going to be weight drained, right? I know he's been fighting at this weight, but understand he has stamina problems as it is. I would argue that boxing has it upside down. Forcing a guy to lose weight to cut water, right, hurts him in fights. Right? I've made this argument for years. I think I wrote a book a few years ago where I made this argument. Right? How to Bet on Boxing. I think available on Amazon. Shameless plug. But the bottom line is losing weight hurts your punch resistance. A lot of guys think they want to be the bigger man in the ring. I'm telling you, being the bigger man sometimes is a disadvantage, especially when it impacts your stamina. Now, I believe Cotto wins this fight. To me, picking Cotto, especially at the odds being offered, better than 2-1 in Las Vegas, is a no-brainer. Because I believe a lot of people are overlooking the level of fitness the guys will have. Understand, take the Alfredo Angulo fight. There's a moment in that fight where Canelo's winning a round in the middle of the ring. Then he looks like he runs out of gas. This is against an uninspired Alfredo Angulo, right? Angulo's so uninspired that on Golpe a Golpe, Juan Manuel Marquez commented that he didn't look like himself. Right? Well, there's a round there where, you know the rest, Canelo looks like he gets tired. Then he goes over to the ropes. Right? Then Angulo, who's being blown out in the round, is able to go over to the ropes and give Canelo the business. Right? Do you really believe that being over by the ropes is where you want to be against Miguel Cotto? I don't. Right? Let's not get carried away with the footage of Mayweather over by the ropes against Cotto. Can we admit that over by the ropes, Mayweather is far better defensively than Saul Alvarez? Understand, if Cotto, who fought at 157 for Daniel Geale. If Cotto can make 155 comfortably, I'm just telling you, he's going to be in far better shape than Canelo. Right? Far better shape. As it is, Cotto, to me, fights more of a fight than Canelo. Right? So, you know, as you hear everyone say Canelo's bigger, Canelo's bigger, Canelo's bigger, ask yourself, does Canelo have the better stamina? Right? I can tell you in the heavyweight division, aren't we accustomed to seeing big guys run out of gas in fights? Right? Sometimes being bigger is just really more an invitation to get tired faster. Right? So, with all due respect to the experts, the trainers who, you know, let's face it, they are in the sport, teaching the sport to world-class fighters and champions. With all due respect to the guys who've weighed in on this fight, you got to be kidding me. You, the gambler, needs to be aware of the catchweight. I got to tell you, take a look at the Erislandy Lara fight. Right? Canelo has his back up against the rope several times in that fight. Right? And let's just say in that fight, he has stamina concerns. How's he going to keep up with Cotto at 155? Also, I've made the point too. People say, oh, look, you know, Canelo hits harder, etc. Right? We know Cotto has enough power to knock people out. Right? At 155 to 160. We know that. Why? Because that's exactly what Miguel Cotto has been doing. Right? So you need to ask yourself, who is the easier target to hit? Right? Just look at films. Cotto's fighting low. Cotto's hiding his head. Right? Think about it. Cotto is hard to find in the ring. Now contrast that with Canelo fights. He's standing upright. I'm telling you, the model for Canelo is Vladimir Klitschko, isn't it? Right? It's Cornelius Bundridge, isn't it? Guy fighting upright, shooting a jab, right? Trying to come with a straight right hand. You almost never see Canelo bent and stay bent. Right? Turn to the side and stay that way. Right? If you want to see numbers that show you Canelo's inactivity, look at the CompuBox numbers from a fight he won. Austin Trout versus Canelo. Right? Now he wins that fight. That means when he's active, he's effective. Why then do the final CompuBox numbers show that he was far less active in that fight than Austin Trout? That tells you he was taking parts of rounds off. Right? Maybe Canelo really, even though he's been fighting at 154, 155, maybe Canelo really should have been a middleweight all along. Right? In this Cotto fight, isn't stamina and where they are in the ring going to determine who's successful? I'll be the most shocked man in America if there's a single round in this fight where Miguel Cotto is winning a round in the middle of the ring, then suddenly needs to go over to the ropes to rest for a minute. We know that's what's going to happen at least a couple of rounds. At least a couple of rounds with Canelo. Right? So, just understand that if you're supporting Cotto in this fight, you're supporting the underdog. You're supporting the fighter that a lot of experts, a lot of trainers in the sport, world-class trainers, guys who've trained champions, right, believe is going to lose the fight. But that's exactly what I'm doing. I believe Cotto here has the clear advantage. Right? I believe this bet makes itself. You're in the casino and they tell you you could get Cotto at plus 200 or what. It's like, look, you have to say, okay, I figured out that part of the bet. Right? The other part's just a hedge, and I believe with Canelo's punching power, that hedge is easy. it's Canelo by KO. Because I'm telling you, if this fight goes the distance, Cotto's going to win the fight by several rounds. Because not only is he the more experienced fighter, he's the harder fighter to hit. He's the fighter with the better stamina. He's the fighter with the better foot speed. Anyway, that's how I see it. Pay close attention to the catch weight before you make your bet. It's 155 pounds. I'm just telling you. Right? Just look at the history of the fighters. Canelo is oversized for 155. Also, please, I know Canelo looked good against James Kirkland. How many rounds did that fight go? You didn't really see Canelo's stamina tested there. Understand, too, there's a difference between Kirkland and Cotto that's profound. Right? I don't have to go looking for James Kirkland. I know where he's going to be. Right? He's the neighbor who knocks on your door. He's knocking on your door. In a James Kirkland fight, I look up. James Kirkland's right here. Cotto's a little bit savvier than that, isn't he? Right? With Cotto, I have to open the door. I have to ask myself, where's Cotto? I go open the door. I have my head out in the hallway. I'm looking around. Suddenly, here's that left hook. Hits me to the body. Hits me to the head. Right? Suddenly, I'm dealing with Cotto, and it's a surprise. It's an ambush. Right? So, I disagree with Kenny Porter on this fight. I disagree with Nacho Beristain on this fight. I disagree with Abel Sanchez on this fight. I'm just telling you, whatever walk of life you're dealing in, right, you need to always question authority. Right? You need to go by your eyes and your data. Right? Your goal shouldn't be to follow some other guy. Right? Certainly shouldn't be to follow me. Your goal should be to develop your own system of analyzing fights and develop your own emotional maturity where you're in a room and everyone else says, hey, the other guy's going to win. And you say, well, that's not what my eyes tell me. Right? If you're betting your money, you need to go with your ideas. Anyway, let me hear from you. I know there's a big Canelo crowd out there. I know Oscar De La Hoya is saying they wanted the fight for years. Let me just point out, by the way, you know, the Canelo people are trying to suggest that Cotto dodged Canelo, right? That Cotto was the one who wasn't, enthusiastic about this fight. You know what Cotto was doing when he could have fought Canelo? Cotto was out winning the middleweight championship. Right? Cotto was beating Sergio Martinez. Understand, Cotto's not a guy who disappears and doesn't fight anyone. He's not Adonis Stevenson. Right? This is the guy who's out there challenging champions in higher weight classes. It's a bit ridiculous for any fighter to say, hey, why won't Cotto fight me? Cotto's not fighting you because he's tackling other giants. Right? He's let's just say you look at Cotto's resume, it's hard for me to envision a fighter saying, I've wanted this fight for years, to try to suggest that the other guy wouldn't close the deal. Cotto has no problem closing deals. A guy who's fought Pacquiao and Mayweather and Margarito, how many guys in the sport could say that? Right? It's kind of hard for me to believe that the guy is avoiding people, right? And Martinez. Think about that resume. And Zab Judah and Shane Mosley. Right? Anyway, that's how I see it. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com. Thanks for stopping by.